5 minutes for the next 50 years of your life, 50 Cent. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, let's see the next 50 years of your life by 50 Cent. So are you excited for it? Let's get into it. The one thing that has become increasingly obvious to me as I've matured is that neither you nor I owe anyone anything. After taking a drink from the well of entitlement, I have witnessed many people waste their potential. Many of the individuals I've worked with throughout the years fall under this category. Well, even my son. They should realize that there is no reason for you to believe that the world owes you anything. There isn't, except that you're solely responsible. In spite of the fact that it could appear to be quite pessimistic, but I would say that this perspective is empowering. You can only experience betrayal if you believe you owe someone something. Unhappiness can only be experienced when you expected help. Only until you realize that everything depends on you, then you can devote all of your attention to being the strongest version of yourself. When you feel jealousy or envy, you should not pray for it right. That's what common sense advises. If your efforts are successful enough, you will be given access to the incoming other energies. And because they will begin to feel entitled to you because they're so close to you, they will begin to withdraw from your circle, claiming even if you bought them a car. They argue that based on your income, you could have bought me a home, and if you purchased a home for them, you did it at my expense. Purchasing a modest home for me at a cost of 1.2. You know, you could have gotten me one for this. If there is that sense of entitlement, it is never enough. Also, not all people's entitlements can be satisfied. Do you understand why? Because they believe they were the ones who actually made you. If they had been around when you first achieved achievement and had seen it that way, there wouldn't even be that if this hadn't happened. You understand when I say, what are you talking about? You know, what I mean when I say that it never applies to the person who is genuinely responsible for what you see happening. You know, the system itself wasn't ready for me. In 1997, I genuinely believed that I was prepared, and it wasn't until 2003 that I began working with a major record company on marketing for my project. But you know, I had to run on my own strength throughout that time. Despite how people thought at the time, I had to persuade myself that I would succeed. And what it does is give you the impression, or at least that's how it made me feel, that there will be times when people will misinterpret my assurance for arrogance that I've been forced to have. They don't appreciate the efforts I've made or how much self-belief I needed to have in order to accomplish these goals. I thought you could charm yourself into a good mood. Everything that is supposed to happen will, and if you have enough self-confidence, you can assist your own learning. No matter how much you may feel like you're ready for something, it never happens at the moment you expect it to. No matter how prepared you may feel, everything always occurs at the appropriate time because you actually grow a thick enough skin to survive when it does work during the time when you feel ready and people are not responding to the material the way you feel they should because it's good. When losing is not an option, you must exert every effort to succeed. And I don't know how they manage to relax and think that everything is okay when you don't truly deal with problems. You get somebody to handle them for you. In a sense, you are the boss, and you truly work for them because when you don't call to let them know what's happening, they just sit there and say, he's coming to tell me what's going on. And when he does, they will handle the part of the job that suits them. I don't care if I lose. Simply said, I enjoy losing when it's at my expense. If I lose because someone else decided to do it, then let it be my fault. I'm upset about it because, in my opinion, I could have learned from it and used better judgment instead of letting it happen. I'm instinctive. Many people view an associate's, bachelor's, or master's degree as a benchmark for intellect, but many of those individuals only retain material long enough to pass midterms and never apply it. Being stubborn, yes, and the only factor that distinguishes people is their enthusiasm. Additionally, being able to concentrate on a task will enable you to work diligently enough to achieve success. Yes, that is the Kobe Bryant. He outperformed them. People, you need to understand that many players in the league behave in accordance with their pay. You then say, let them do it. I'm not getting that money. Every day, Kobe was there. When you genuinely make a commitment to yourself about what you want for your life and put that much effort into it, that's one thing. Do you want to be constantly afraid, or do you want to start acting aggressively and saying things like, you know what, You don't have to find me because I'm looking for you. The reason the guy in the schoolyard always leaves with a black eye is because he doesn't want to fight. People want to fight as soon as you demonstrate that you're not willing to engage in conflict. Since I had no one to turn to, I never once avoided anything. Where am I going? I've always had it. Nobody was waiting for me when I went home. You understand what I'm saying? I've always had to take care of things on my own because of the circumstances. If you could only hear me clearly, I'd like to urge to all young people, don't do what I did. Most people I know wasted away their entire 20s. From 20 to 29, they simply stopped trying. They simply screwed them up and jacked them off. Because when you're 20, you're really just trying to have too much fun, guy. You're independent now that you have graduated from college and no longer reside at your mother's place. What then do we do? Almost everyone, or 98% of the people I know, we attempt to exert ourselves in the fun area during our 20s. We are so huge that we need to leave work early to go to happy hour. We need to leave work so we can go get wasted, drink cola, have a cigarette, hang out with fellows, and play video games. The common person wastes their entire 20s. When you finally realize that life isn't waiting for you, you're now 30 years old. Guess what essentially all of us, including myself, experienced now. I tried to do the things I should have been doing in my 20s for the entirety of my 30s. My life is now behind. You now notice you're age 40. In your 40s, you and now guy you're attempting to do and possess the things that you could have had in your 30s. Have you just fulfilled your 20s commitments? The tragedy that begins to unfold, you age 50 when you glance up since it wasn't too late for me. I don't mean that it's too late for you, but when you look up, you realize that you're 50 years old. Suddenly, you find yourself attempting to build and lead a life that you could have started and finished in your 30s. If you heard me clearly, I would advise all young people not to act in the same way that I did. So when you observe my life today, you might say, Steve, you've got it going on. You have no idea how difficult I made things for myself by choosing the path I did. I would focus in my 20s if I could start again and make one difference. You lessen a portion of the BS that you're so devoted to while you're young and active. Man, the 20s are all about the freedom you soaked up, the girls, the dudes, the video games, the clubs, and the happy hours. However, by devoting yourself to that liberation and that enjoyment, you exclude yourself from the American dream, and 98% of individuals experience it. And I can attest to this because it also happened to me. And if I could advise anyone, if I could go back in time, I would alter how I lived in my 20s. Start analyzing your 20s and 30s and see where you're going to stand in the next 50 years. Do like, comment, and share on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates.